Hi, this is Dan Heisman, and this is the Improve Your Chess series for ICC members. In today's video, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. I have shown a game or three of mine before, but this time I'm going to do something in tribute. I heard recently that Grandmaster Walter Browne passed away suddenly last week, and Walter Browne was a six-time U.S. champion. And I think the game that I played against him in 1972 when I was 21, and I guess he was just turning 23 at the time, would make for a good video. And I already made it into a novice nook a couple years ago. But of course, this is a whole new audience. And I think this is a really theoretical game. So let's take a look at it. It still remains of interest to this day in this line. All right, so I was black. And Walter Browne played e4. Now, Walter showed up 20 minutes late for the game. And Walter was famous for playing, he would blitz out the opening, then he would play really, really, really slow. And then he would get into super time trouble, and then he would blitz out the rest of the time control. A little harder to do these days with sudden death time control. But in those days, it was like 40 and 2. So he just had to make it to move 40. He didn't have to play to move 90. All right, so I guess I get some credit here. Against Walter, I played his own line against him. I played the main line of the Najdorf Sicilian. So you can't hold it against me for trying to take Grandmaster out of the book or anything like that. Now, to set the game up a little bit, this was the New York City Championship, January 1972. And I was an unknown expert from Philadelphia, and Walter Browne was just becoming a grandmaster, and he was born in Australia, but when he was 2, he came over to the United States, and he grew up in Brooklyn. And when the Vietnam War broke out, he used his Australian citizenship to go back to Australia and to represent Australia as their top player and help play in international tournaments, and this helped get him his grandmaster title. In those days, it was a lot harder to do that. We didn't have a lot of World Opens and things like that. So, as an Australian citizen, then after a while, he came back to the United States. And in 72, the Vietnam War was still going on, but Walter had avoided the draft that way. And we both won in the first round, and he was the top-rated player by far. I think his rating was around 2,600 at the time. And in those days, the ratings were actually lower than they are now. So that would be the equivalent of maybe having a USCF rating of around 2,700 now. So I played c5. And Walter, of course, never one to avoid the sharp lines or try to take me out of the book, plays the main stuff, plays open Sicilian. And, of course, here I am playing the Najdorf against one of the world's most famous Najdorf players. And Walter plays the most theoretical stuff, and so do I. I play e6, and he plays f4, and I play bishop e7, and he plays queen f3, and I play queen c7, and Walter plays castle, and I play knight bd7. And now we come to the first part of the game where we could vary a little bit. The famous game that Vladimirovich played with bishop d3, I don't think was played till maybe the next year, but I don't think Walter would have played that anyway. He played what was certainly the main line at the time, which is to play g4. And I play b5, and bishop takes, knight takes, g5, knight d7, f5. All right, so I knew this line very well at the time, and I was interested in seeing what Grandmaster Browne would play against me. These moves were all blitzed off by both sides. By the way, at this point, the bishop takes g5 line, bishop takes g5 check, is known as the Browne variation. I wasn't preparing that. If we go back a couple moves, actually, if I play